How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mav Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I am rejoined by my co-host, Drew Johnson. You can find us both on X at Dalton_Trigg and at Coach Drew 33. Guys, the Mavs, they recently dropped their full schedule for the 2025-26 season. We're going to get into that, but before we do, we have a little bit of business to attend to here. Let's see here. Let me pull this up. We did a giveaway last week. If you shared the post for my solo pod I did last week, I'm giving away a Cooper Flag rookie card and one of those Team USA cards that has all three of Curry, LeBron, and Durant on it. And congratulations to it's at DMILL Pro. So DMILL Pro on Twitter. You're the winner for our Mavs step back giveaway. And guys, be on the lookout for other giveaways in the future. We do this every now and then. That's that one's not as big as like a signed jersey giveaway or something of that nature. But I mean, look, you never know what these cards can end up being in the future, especially if they're in excellent shape. And I guarantee you send these off and get them graded, they're going to be Gym Mint 10. So congratulations to him. DJ, another business topic before we get into the schedule breakdown. We have another t-shirt line that has dropped, and this one is the old school collection. Obviously, you can't put actual player names and stuff of that nature, but the old school collection by Mav Step Back. We've got it up on our site. It's let's see, there it is on the bottom there. Visit mavstepbackmerch.dashery.com and you can find all of our old school collection and our Cooper Flag collection, or really it's the overall, what was it? What did we technically name that one?
The top pick collection.
Yeah, the top pick collection. That's right. Yeah, it's not Cooper Flag. It's it's just generic.
Not Cooper Flag.
Generically, the top pick collection has nothing to do with Cooper Flag.
Just like this is the generically old school collection. That's definitely not Dirk Nowitzki's high school jersey there on the left, and that definitely isn't Cooper Flag's AAU, and it's absolutely not Kyrie Irving in the middle, nor is that Anthony Davis's on the mid right, or Derek Lively's on the far right, and I'm certainly not going to do any more of these.
Yeah, certainly no more.
Definitely.
It's definitely has nothing to do with those people mentioned. So, good explanation there, because you'd hate for somebody to get the wrong idea.
Yeah,
and file a DMCA notice like they did on the Ted Lasso Cooper Flag design. That was so nice.
It was not Ted Lasso, and it was not Cooper Flag.
So, shout out to all of those who went out and got one of those very limited. You now have a retro limited edition. Like it's there's no telling what that thing's worth now, because you got one of the very few in those 2 days that it was up on the site before it had to be taken down. So if you did get a Ted Lasso Cooper Flag cartoon, with the Believe sign above in the locker room, if you got one of those shirts, congrats to you. You have a rare piece of Mav Step Back memorabilia now. So but be on the lookout. We got more stuff coming as the season gets to a starting point, and then throughout the season as well. So okay, so what we're actually here for, DJ, the Mavs full schedule for the 2025-2026 season has finally dropped. As far as the nationally televised games, I think the most any team in the league had was like 33, 34 games, something of that nature. The Mavs still have 23. So, 23 nationally televised games after you traded away Luka in the manner that you did, all the negative PR that came from that, the fan base kind of dropping off a cliff there for a little while until, Mavs got the number one overall pick in Cooper Flag. And yet here we are with hype building yet again, and the Mavs getting 23 televised games. So you look at that, and I think the league kind of sees some potential too. Obviously they're not going to get as many as the Lakers, but I think the league has a little bit of faith in the Mavs to be better than what a lot of people think, in my opinion. But what are your thoughts on the nationally televised games, first of all, and then second of all, what is a stretch in this schedule? Just first look at it that you're thinking like, that might be that's a little bit different. That might be a little bit easier or even more difficult than what I initially thought.
Well, I'll say this. People want to say that this is solely attributed to Cooper Flagg and the number one pick. And, it's a big part of it. But you look at, teams that got the number one pick in the past, what did their nationally televised schedule look like? Maybe half of this. I mean, who got the number one pick last year? Was it who drafted? Was it Atlanta? Was it Atlanta?
Yeah, it was the Hawks. Yep.
Yeah, because they got Reza Share or whatever. Yep. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I don't know exactly what their nationally televised schedule looked like, but I bet it wasn't this. And the reason that I say that is because the Mavs have so many pieces around Cooper Flagg that make us. I don't want to say we're a contender, but I think we're a threat to make some noise in the playoffs. I really do. If everyone stays healthy, I think we have a very solid starting five. And honestly, our first five off the bench looks like a starting lineup. So, I don't want to, just hop on a hype train or anything, but there's a reason for this. And if everything goes according to plan, which nothing ever does, we saw that last year, but if everything goes according to plan, everyone stays healthy, all that good stuff, we could start the year, like you told me earlier, we could start the year off those first 20 games, 15-5. I mean, I really think that's, I don't want to say a given, but I think that's well within the realm of possibility. I think those are all very winnable games. And I think you're right. I think we'll hover somewhere around there.
Well, I mean, look, and it's not just I look at that opening stretch, and you have so many teams that are beatable just right off the rip. San Antonio, Washington, Toronto. In all reality, I mean, look, I know San Antonio is going to get hyped up every year that Wemby is supposed to be developing even higher than what he is. I still think the Mavs are better than the Spurs, even without Kyrie Irving. Overall, top to bottom, I think the Mavs are better than the Spurs. So, ideally and realistically, in my opinion, you have 3 wins right off the bat there at the start of the schedule. And then you have OKC, which is tough. But then you have Indiana, Halliburton, who has, he tore his Achilles. They're not going to have him. So, you could start out 4-1 right there. You maybe 5-0 because, again, PJ Washington just has this thing about destroying OKC in the regular season and in the playoffs. But I look at it and it's like, okay, there's just so many. Let's see. Detroit should beat Detroit. New Orleans should beat New Orleans. Memphis, you could beat up Memphis. Washington again. Then you got Milwaukee. You have no idea how that situation is going to be because Dame is gone and that team looks horrible aside from Giannis, and Giannis may even ask out before we get to that point.
Slapping the hell out of teammates.
Phoenix, they're the vibes may have changed a little bit after they finally traded Durant, but I don't think they're going to be any better than what they were last year. You got Portland mixed in there. You got New Orleans again, Memphis again, Miami, and then let's see here. And then you finish that off at game number 20 against the Lakers, and it's at LA. That's I believe that's the that's the last NBA Cup game too. So that'll be interesting to kind of, the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday is when that game's happening. So, but man, look, I look at that and I'm like, like you said, 15-5. I don't think that's an unreasonable number to throw out there if there is some reasonably good health. And I get that this is the Dallas Mavericks we're talking about, but at the start of the year, I don't foresee them having very many injury issues. Now you get toward the second half of the season and toward Christmas and maybe into that January, February stretch where things get a little tougher, maybe because you have more miles racking up at that point. But at the start of the season, I don't think the injury stuff is going to be that big of an issue for this team. I think everybody aside from Kyrie is going to be good to go. And the thing I like most about the opening stretch, DJ, it starts at home. Like you have a 5-game homestand to start the season, and 13 of their first 18 games are at American Airlines Center. This is, our guy Kirk Henderson with Mavs Moneyball the other day, we were talking with him about it in one of our group chats, and he basically said, Jason Kidd has no excuses, and it feels like we say that every year, and and every year we find something to complain about with how the Mavs start the season. But this year, I truly believe like he has no excuse. Like I get that Kyrie is out, but given the talent from top to bottom that's still on this roster, minus Kyrie, I think, again, 13 of your first 18 games being at home, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be. I know we say 15-5, but even like 14-6, I don't think it should be any less than that.
Unless somewhere around there.
Unless something just goes horribly wrong. So,
well, another thing that you brought to my attention this morning, and I really thought about it while we were at my daughter's daycare, was probably not something I should be thinking about while at my daughter's daycare, but is the point guard play. I think that's going to be it's going to be paramount to our success. How good is D'Lo going to be? How good is he going to be at managing games? Is he going to try to do too much? I worry about that. But if he can just play within himself and just focus on making the team around him better, I see no reason why we can't go 15-5 or 16-4. But it all starts with him. And he isn't even the best player in the starting lineup, but he's likely the most important player in the starting lineup right now because it all starts with the point guard, no matter what.
And look, this might be a hot take. I think D'Lo is going to be fine.
Okay.
I think he's going to. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be spectacular, but like we were talking about earlier, just game managing and just having somebody on the roster who can dribble and distribute the ball a little bit. I feel like he's going to fit in fine and not try to overdo it because I think they're going to tinker with Cooper Flagg at different positions at the start of this season. And I think Cooper Flagg is going to be a little bit better than most people think, handling the ball and being able to initiate certain actions in the offense. I think that's going to lessen the load on a guy like D'Lo a little bit. And I'm not saying Cooper's going to be perfect, but I think he's going to show enough of that to take some of the pressure off of D'Lo's shoulders, even while, Kyrie is out. And then obviously you have a guy like Jaden Hardy, for example, who a lot of people have given up on at this point. But, he's entering his fourth year now, his fourth season. He's always been a great shooter. He just hasn't been able to string together multiple games of showing that he can dribble and not turn the ball over. Maybe you have a surprise situation where a guy like him, breaks out and helps more than initially thought. Maybe Dante Exum ends up back on the team. He signed a deal, but the Mavs still got to make room if he's going to stay on the team by opening night. Maybe he can stay healthy for this first 20-game stretch. Now, that is something that I wouldn't feel comfortable betting money on because Dante Exum always gets hurt. But if he does, there's another guy who's good defensively. He can handle the ball. He can shoot threes. I think it's going to be – they're going to have enough there, in my opinion, to piece together, a competent backcourt situation to – still give them success in this early stretch of the season. They're going to win games because the front court, not just the front court starters, but the bench too. Mavs are stacked. They're going to be pummeling people. It's going to be like it's like that meme that I share on Twitter sometimes. It has all the Pokemon, and it's like we're gonna beat you to death. That's kind of what comes to mind when I think of the Mavs front court situation. They're going to be very hard to handle, and I think we'll see enough from Mavs front court and even some of their back court, and then again from some of their front court players creating and dribbling a little bit, that it'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. And another thing is, what if PJ, and I know PJ is older and he's probably about to sign an extension here. Let's see, we're 11 days away from PJ Washington's extension date. What if PJ comes into this season and he can dribble better all of a sudden? Like with Kyrie being out and everybody knowing going into the offseason, hey, I could probably benefit from, or not just me benefiting, but my team also, if I really work on my handles. What if there was like a collective team effort to where everybody's just like, can I just get like this much better with my handles in this offseason? If that's the case, I think you really have something. And then by the time Kyrie comes back, you're a better team overall because of it.
I'll tell you what I worry about, though. All this is hypothetical, right? And we've said that over and over again. All this is hypothetical. But in order to be an effective, perimeter team, your perimeter players have to be able to make good decisions. It's much more than just being able to dribble the basketball. And that's a lot of what Jaden Hardy's issue is. Yeah, he can't dribble, but he also makes terrible decisions. That's what I worry about with him. And I don't know, we've never really seen, I'm not going to say never, but we haven't seen much of Cooper Flagg, in that type of situation, as far as handling the ball, initiating the offense through him, making decisions like a point guard would. It'll be very interesting to see. But that's why I'm saying that D'Lo has to be solid, not perfect, solid.
Yeah,
because we are already so freaking thin as far as the backcourt's concerned. And that's also why I think that if Hardy comes out guns a-blazing and looks great, I think you hit the trade button, and I think you hit it immediately to see what you can get for him, because it's not going to last. I hate to say it, it's just not going to last.
Yeah. Well, and he may not even be on the roster by the time the season starts, because again, the Mavs have 16 guys on standard contracts. You can only go into the season with 15. So something's got to give. Either somebody's got to get cut, or there needs to be a trade happen. LeBron, where one guy comes in and several guys go out. So we still got some stuff to kind of hash out. Other teams do too before the start of the season comes. But
I'll tell you that there definitely won't be any LeBron shirts. Certainly not a LeBron Irish shirt.
No, nothing on our merch store that has anything even hinting at LeBron. Anyway, but in all seriousness, I do still think that situation is pretty weird. I think it's weird that like they haven't said anything for about a month now after all the hype was going on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have a suspicion, and it might just be me with I've had my tinfoil hat on so many times over the years. It may just be like how my mind is wired, but I feel like after PJ Washington's extension date, he's able to sign an extension on the 29th. So again, 11 days from now. I'm very interested in seeing what he signs for, and if he is going to be immediately tradable, just like Daniel Gafford was when he signed his 3-year extension. Because if he is, then it's like, the
flag. Like, I think that's
signals are radiating. If that happens. So it'll be interesting to see how that all goes down. Who knows, man? Anything could happen. I'll say this: I would not be shocked if LeBron ends up in Dallas. Whether it's, I would like it not to be a trade, but if it was a trade or even with a buyout, I wouldn't be shocked just because of all the connections he has. Like the Mavs have pretty much built the most LeBron friendly team ever. as far as who he likes, or the types of players he likes to play with, and then staff wise too. They not just Jason Kidd, but they went out and hired Phil Handy, who he loves. Both him and AD loved him in LA. There's just a lot of there's a lot of stuff there that makes me think, man, this could happen. But we'll see. If not, again, I think the Mavs they have enough talent top to bottom to where they can make it through just fine if they don't have any more major injuries. But a couple more notes here. The Mavs, again, I mentioned they have 23 nationally televised games. Season opener, it'll be on October 22nd at home against the San Antonio Spurs. Cooper Flagg versus Dylan Harper. That'll be cool. Obviously, Cooper versus Victor Wembanyama. That'll draw some attention as well. And then obviously you have and I mentioned this on the last pod, but the Mavs will play the Warriors on Christmas Day at the Bay, and it'll be an early game, surprisingly. So at first glance, I was thinking, oh man, it's going to be we're going to be up till like past midnight with that game, but no, that's going to be at 4 p.m. Central Time, so our time. So that'll be good on Christmas Day to get some hopefully high quality hoops. They're playing on MLK Day this year against the New York Knicks. That'll also be a 4 p.m. start time on January 19th. And then obviously the NBA Cup stuff, I don't get too much into that because I know they're going to have those courts that burn your retinas and probably the different color jerseys and stuff that goes with. I'm not into all that. I just view it as another regular season game. But look, if the Mavs do happen to get to the Cup, NBA Cup semifinals or finals, that's in Vegas, and then that piques my interest a lot. So, we'll see if they end up getting there, and then Mavs step back might have to make some last second improvisations. If I said that right, my brain's not working too well right now. But anyway. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. That might be fun. Mavs Step Back Vegas Part 2 if they make it to the NBA.
Oh, baby.
It would be great.
Here we come, baby.
It would have been great to go to Summer League this year, but it was such a circus with, how obviously Cooper Flagg being there, and it was something else. But again, guys, look, we appreciate y'all for joining us. As always, be sure to visit our merch store, mavstepbackmerch.dashery.com, to check out our old school collection that we just added and all of our other collections too. And then also check out our Substack. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see it in the top left-hand corner of your screen here. Got a QR code, but mavstepback.com. Is where you can hold on. Let me go to this other view so people can see Joey. Mavstepback.com. Be sure to subscribe there and subscribe on YouTube, all the places. Leave your likes, your comments, whether it's on there or on our socials. But we greatly appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Y'all have a good week.